Hey y'all, in this video we will be delving into the story of the Crimmins family. I find this case incredibly intriguing and I hope you do too. I will keep you updated with my new findings as we progress through the series and share any new info I come across. If you have any information you'd like me to include in this series, please feel free to contact me on my social media, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for watching and don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get to know a little more about the family. Addi Sr. was an airline mechanic. He was 6 feet tall, sandy-haired, and ruggedly handsome. He towered over Alice, a blue-eyed redhead with delicate features, both slim and voluptuous. Addi spent little time at home, preferring overtime and the company of his friends. The children were described as well-behaved and cheerful youngsters. Sometimes the two of them sat on the windowsill of their room, waving and saying hi to passers-by. This right here is the part that I was talking about in the first video, where it was revealed that the screen to the window in the children's bedroom was out and the authorities didn't take note of that. As stated in my first video, Alice found a job as a cocktail waitress after their separation. While apart, she attended a bon voyage party, eventually leading to her husband filing for custody of the children. The party took place on a boat, and Alice was accompanied by Anthony Grace, a 52-year-old wealthy building contractor. He was known for wearing silk suits and a diamond pinky ring and had numerous political connections. Rumors suggested that he had ties to criminals. Edmund Sr. sought custody of the children due to an incident at a party. Grace and some other men playfully locked the women in the washroom. Subsequently, the boat set sail, and Alice found herself on the way to the Bahamas instead of relieving the babysitter. The babysitter then called Edmund, who promptly picked up the children and took them to Alice Burke, Alice's mother. This incident led to Edmund's decision to file for custody. Now let's delve deeper into the timeline of the children's disappearance and discovery. This will provide more insight into Alice's reaction and the following day and further details about the investigation. When we get into the particulars of the first trial, we will hear more about the timeline of events. However, as we heard previously, Missy was found in the parking lot within hours and she had been strangled. Piering was informed but didn't tell the parents because he wanted to test Alice. She was taken to the field with no warning, and she was escorted to the body of her 4-year-old daughter. Her flowered pajama top was wound around her neck. Crimmins felt dizzy, and Piering grabbed her. She mumbled, "It's Missy." She had to be helped back to the police cruiser. She sat in the car, staring out the window expressionless, and answered questions flatly. Upon returning home from where Missy was identified, Alice entered a crowd of photographers and suddenly began crying. Investigators and the public had a difficult time understanding her reaction. They interpreted her emotional display at the site where Missy was found as fake and believed she only cried for the cameras, thinking that she did not care about her children. The next day, Alice kept the investigating officers waiting while she finished putting on her makeup. Both the police and the public were outraged that a woman in the stages of grief should be so concerned with her appearance. Within a week of the funeral, she resumed her everyday life. She and Edmund had moved back in together, cooked and cleaned, and spent evenings at bars and nightclubs where she drank and danced the nights away. Her obsession with appearance. The adolescent acne from her well-scrubbed Catholic girlhood left her with a permanent feeling of inferiority. It would take her nearly an hour, but she would disguise the acne-scarred complexion with utmost care. Her return to an active nightlife could have been a coping mechanism. Her son's badly decomposed body was found several days after his sister's was discovered. This contradicts the several weeks indicated earlier in this video, but appears to be the correct time frame. Earlier, I mentioned that Edmund was essentially stalking Alice. At one point, he installed a wiretap on her phone, running from her bedroom to the basement so he'd listen to her phone conversations. He then stealthily entered her home. On one occasion, he burst into her bedroom, causing a naked man to jump out of the window and run down the street. Edmund would also sneak in when she wasn't home to be around her, quote, personal things. Let's discuss the investigation of the children's bedroom in more detail, taking into consideration the previous mentioned missing window screen. When Piering went into the children's room to investigate, he moved a lamp from the bureau over which the children would have had to climb on their way out of the window. In doing so, he noticed a thin film of undisturbed dust over the top of it because the lamp itself left a clear round ring. However, Piering did not instruct the photographer to record the vital evidence, nor did he make a written note of it. One would expect a photo of the bureau showing a layer of undisturbed dust to have been taken since the area had recently seen some activity, regardless of whether the kids had scrambled over it. While cleaning the house, Alice removed the screen because she found a hole in it. She intended to replace it with the screen from her bedroom. However, she found a bit of dog excrement on that screen. Consequently, she returned the screen with the hole in it to the children's room but did not reattach it. She simply propped it against the glass. Later, during the frantic search, Edmund leaned against it to yell for the children. Before we discuss Alice's various male friends, let's first consider what Detective Piering reported about Alice's statement regarding the food she gave the children the night they disappeared. She initially told Piering that she had fed them manicotti for dinner, but Piering found a box of veal in the garbage. When Alice spoke to other detectives, she claimed that she had fed the children veal. However, the autopsy revealed that Missy's stomach contained pasta but no meat. It's common for child predators to pretend to be friendly and caring towards children. Is it possible that someone else fed the children before harming them? Dr. Richard Grimes, who conducted the autopsy on Missy's body, determined that she died 6 to 12 hours before her body was found, and possibly even earlier based on the deep tissue temperature. The medical examiner's office found that the child's stomach was quite full and that she died no more than 2 hours after her last meal. Alice claimed she fed them at 7:30 and checked on them at midnight. She recalled getting gas at Gulf's at 9 p.m., but the two attendants remembered her being there at 5 p.m. This raises the question, were the children kidnapped and given a last meal of macaroni before they were unalived? The police officers were amused when they discovered that Alice had multiple boyfriends and had sexually explicit conversations. They conducted a campaign to embarrass and harass her, even going as far as calling her estranged husband, Edmund, to inform him that she was with another man in her bedroom. They also visited her employers and revealed that the efficient secretary working for them under the name Alice Burke was actually the infamous Alice Crimmins, a woman suspected of being promiscuous and involved in the deaths of her two young children. This led to her being fired suddenly when her true identity was revealed. Alice held various jobs, such as secretary, receptionist, and airline travel agent before becoming unemployed multiple times. Her phone conversation often started with the greeting, "Hello, boys, drop dead." The police investigated some of the men acquainted with Alice. There was an unverified rumor about a handyman standing outside the children's window on the morning of their disappearance, but they didn't pursue this lead after receiving a letter from a woman named Sophie, who we will learn about during the first trial. The police were also pressuring Joseph Rorick, a devout Roman Catholic man with 7 children who was known for his womanizing habits and secretly bisexual tendencies, including cross-dressing. He was in serious trouble with his business dealings. He was drowning in debt and had written several bad checks to hold off creditors, which landed him in serious legal trouble. He started using different aliases. Detectives wiretapped Rorick to listen to his conversations with Alice, but he never said anything incriminating. Later, he was granted immunity from prosecution for all crimes except adultery and unaliving. However, he changed his mind when he remembered that she had told him something quite damning. Tabloids had a field day calling her a, quote, ex-cocktail waitress, even though she only did this job for a few months. The term was used to belittle her, with people focusing on the frilly, tight-fitting outfit rather than acknowledging the hard work of serving. As I've stated before, on September 11, 1967, Alice Crimmins was arrested for the first-degree unaliving of Missy Crimmins. She was not charged in her son's death because it could not be proven to have been an unaliving. In the next installment, we will get into the details of the first trial, which happened in May 1968. I strongly believe that this case has many aspects that the authorities overlooked due to the timing of its occurrence. As we move forward, I have a feeling that there will be more of a trial by public opinion rather than a trial by law. It might be a little too soon to say, but I'd like to know your thoughts so far. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. Bye, y'all.